You are listening to Crystal Clear English Podcast. Learn English the crystal clear way.
Welcome to this deep dive. So we've gathered a whole stack of research you shared with us, all focused on how people actually talk in everyday English. And our mission today really is to pull out the key stuff from that material. Specifically, we're looking at 10 phrases that the study showed, well, they just kept coming up as being absolutely vital for sounding natural and fluent quickly.
That's right. And, the research isn't about complicated grammar or fancy vocabulary. What these studies really brought out is that a huge part of sounding natural, of having that flow, it comes down to using these surprisingly simple short phrases, things native speakers use almost without thinking. They're kind of the oil in the engine for everyday chats, polite moments, those quick back and forths.
Exactly. So for you listening, the whole point of this deep dive is to break down these 10 key phrases from the research. We'll look at what they mean, obviously, see how they work with examples straight from the studies, and figure out why they're so important for sounding, natural right off the bat. Think of it like a shortcut to more effortless English conversation, really, based on how people genuinely speak.
Yeah, it's about putting your energy where it counts most. These high-impact phrases. You'll hear them and need them constantly. Understanding just these 10, like the research shows, it gives you a real leg up in navigating actual real-life English.
Okay, then let's jump in. What did the studies find was the absolute #1 most common phrase?
Well, based on the frequency data, yeah, the top spot definitely goes to, how's it going?
Okay. This is like the ultimate informal hello, right? Asking how someone is. The studies confirmed it's just everywhere. Seeing a colleague, bumping into a friend, even just, firing off a quick text. It's relaxed, it's friendly, sets a casual tone instantly. You can almost forget the slightly more formal, how are you doing today? Most everyday times. This is one.
Mm-hmm. And the research had some great examples showing its flexibility. You can use it generally like, hey, Jake, how's it going? Simple. Or you can kind of attach it to something specific, like, hi, Emma, how's it going with your new job?
Mm-hmm.
That way you're showing interest, but still keeping that easygoing feel. It's like fundamental for just daily social stuff.
It really is kind of the foundation for casual greetings. Simple, works, sounds totally native. Okay, so moving from greetings, what about navigating social situations? The research found another super practical one.
That would be, I'm just looking. Thanks. This one's brilliant when you're shopping. A real lifesaver.
Oh, absolutely. You walk into a shop, right, especially in an English-speaking country. Seconds later, someone's probably going to ask, can I help you find something?
Yeah.
And if you, just want to browse around on your own, the studies confirm this is the standard polite way to reply. It's basically how you say, no thanks, don't need help now, I'm good, just looking.
Right. And it avoids that slightly awkward thing where you feel like you have to make something up or accept help you don't actually want, like the example dialogue from the research. Shopkeeper asks, can I help you find something? Your smooth reply, no, I'm just looking, thanks. That thanks is important, keeps it polite. The studies really highlighted how common this whole interaction is. Makes the phrase pretty essential if you're out shopping.
Yeah, a polite way to just keep browsing in peace. Smart. All right, let's look at a phrase the research pointed out as being incredibly versatile, a real utility player in conversation.
That's no worries. The studies really emphasize how often this pops up, in loads of different contexts, too. It's almost like a linguistic lubricant for social interactions.
It's so true. It's like the English way of saying, it's okay, or don't worry about it, maybe even, you're welcome, all kind of bundled into one friendly phrase. The research shows it being used to wave off apologies or acknowledge thanks, but in a really relaxed way. Think about the example. Someone says, sorry I'm late. You just go, no worries. Or they thank you for something small. Thanks for helping me. You reply, no worries at all. Easy.
It signals that little things aren't a big deal. Helps keep things calm, easygoing. The studies kind of link its popularity to maybe a cultural preference for, like, understated responses, avoiding a fuss. It definitely makes you sound approachable. Modern, too.
It's amazing how much positive social vibe that little phrase has. Okay, the research also looked at how people show agreement or enthusiasm simply.
And the phrase that really stands out there is, that sounds great.
Yeah, this is your quick, easy, positive reaction to an idea or a suggestion. Instead of maybe longer, more complicated ways of saying you like something, this is the go-to. The studies had examples like, let's meet at 6 p.m. for coffee. Response, that sounds great. Or, we could watch a movie tonight. Simple, enthusiastic, sounds great. You can even drop the that in really casual chat, right? Which the research examples confirmed. Just sounds great.
Exactly. It's efficient. Shows you're keen, you agree. keeps the conversation moving positively. The studies noted its role in, like, confirming plans and just showing you're happy with what's suggested. You're engaged.
Expressing positivity doesn't get much easier than that. Now, what about when you need to kind of buy yourself some time before giving an answer? The research had a good one for that.
Yes, for those moments when you can't commit right away, maybe especially in professional settings or slightly more formal ones, the phrase, "I'll get back to you," is key.
Right, and it sounds so much more professional, more polished than just, I don't know, or even, I need to think. Mm. The studies gave scenarios like someone asking, can you come to the meeting tomorrow? If you need to check your calendar, you say, I'm not sure yet, I'll get back to you. Much better. Or asking for info, do you know the price? If you don't have it right there, I'll check and get back to you later.
It manages expectations, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds responsible, shows you'll follow through.
Yeah.
The research really highlighted its importance in business contexts, yeah? But also other situations where you need to provide info, just maybe not instantly, shows you're processing the request.
It really does make you sound capable, reliable. Okay, shifting gears a bit. The research also picked out a phrase used a lot to show flexibility, or maybe downplay importance.
That would be, "It doesn't matter."
This seems perfect for when you genuinely don't have a strong preference, between options. Or when you want to tell someone that something small isn't really a problem. The study showed examples like deciding logistics. Should we take the bus or a cab? If you're easy, either way, it doesn't matter to me. Or, actually, tying it back to another phrase, if someone apologizes for something minor. Sorry, I forgot to bring the pen. You could reply, no worries, that doesn't matter. See? Combining them. Yeah, it simplifies things, stops you getting stuck on minor details. The research pointed to its use in showing you're, easy to accommodate, or that you aren't bothered by a small mistake. Keeps interactions smooth, uncomplicated.
Great for sounding easygoing.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you you genuinely don't know something, but you want to say that politely. What did the research find there?
The studies pointed to, I'm not sure, as the main phrase here. It's definitely a softer, more natural way to say you don't know, compared to just a blunt, I don't know, which can sometimes sound a bit abrupt, maybe. Yeah, it adds a touch of humility. Or suggests there might be an answer, but you just don't have it for certain. The examples from the research captured that nuance really well. Is this the right train? Instead of just, no, maybe say, I'm not sure, let's ask someone. It kind of opens the door to figuring it out together. Or, about the weather. Will it rain today? I'm not sure, but we should probably carry an umbrella. You're admitting you don't know, but still being practical.
It's just a very common, very comfortable way to express uncertainty in everyday talk.
Yeah.
Makes your English sound less direct, more conversational in those moments. The studies definitely noted how often it comes up across lots of different types of conversations.
Definitely wanted to try incorporating. I'm not sure. Sounds much more natural when you don't have the answer right there. Okay, sometimes you just don't have the energy, right? Or the desire for something, and you need a phrase for that, especially with people you know well.
For expressing that lack of desire or just not being in the mood, but in a casual way, the research highlights, I don't feel like it.
Right. This one's definitely informal, though. Use it with friends, family, probably not your boss. But in those casual settings, it's simple, it's honest. Good way to turn down an invitation or suggestion without a big fuss. The examples are pretty relatable. Someone asks, let's go out tonight. If you're feeling tired, you can just say, I don't feel like it. I'm tired. Or if someone asks, do you want to cook today? A casual, not really, I don't feel like it, works fine.
It gives a simple reason your mood, your energy, without needing a whole long explanation. The study showed this phrase is pretty well understood and accepted among friends as a perfectly okay, casual reason for saying no.
Helps you be honest about your mood, but casually. Okay, we're nearly through the list the research gave us. Next up is a phrase that's full of optimism, hope.
That's fingers crossed. This is a really cheerful, common expression. You use it when you're hoping something good happens, either for yourself or for someone else.
Yeah, you can almost picture the gesture when you hear it, can't you? Though you don't always have to actually cross your fingers. The study showed it used for support. Friend says, I have a job interview tomorrow. You'd reply, oh, fingers crossed for you. Or to express your own hope. If you send in an application, you might tell someone, I sent the application, and they could say, fingers crossed, they accept it.
It's just a neat, positive way to acknowledge that some things are, out of our hands, and we're just hoping for the best. The research noted how often it appears in conversations about the future or uncertain things where hope is involved.
A simple phrase carries a lot of positive feeling. Okay, last one. For those moments when you truly, genuinely, absolutely have no information about something, what did the research pick out?
The studies confirm that for a stronger way of saying you don't know, the phrase I have no idea is incredibly common, and it sounds very authentic.
Right. This feels different from I'm not sure, which kind of leaves a bit of wiggle room, maybe partial knowledge. I have no idea means. You're completely blanking on it. It's casual. It's direct. The examples are great. Someone asks, what's her phone number? If you really don't know it, just say, I have no idea. Simple. Or about how long something takes. How long will it take? A simple, honest reply. No idea. Maybe 30 minutes. The research even showed you can sometimes drop the I have in very casual talk, just no idea.
Yeah, it sounds really natural and easygoing when you genuinely don't have the info. The studies showed it's super frequent in spontaneous chats, precisely because, well, people often get asked things they just don't know the answer to. It's an authentic response.
Very common, very authentic. Okay, so we've walked through the 10 core phrases the research highlighted. And, one of the most powerful things from these studies wasn't just the phrases themselves, but how they get used together.
Exactly. Real conversations aren't just like isolated phrases popping up. People weave these short expressions together all the time. The research actually included some example dialogues that show this perfectly.
Okay, yeah, let me read one of those examples from the studies. Hey, how's it going?
Good. I'm just looking around.
Sounds great. I'll get back to you later, okay?
No worries.
See how smoothly that flows?
Yeah.
You start with, how's it going? Maybe you're browsing, so I'm just looking. Someone suggests something, sounds great, and I'll get back to you. Fit right in, and no worries. Just smooths it all out. That tiny exchange used, 4 of our 10 phrases, really naturally. It shows the power of not just knowing them, but being able to kind of combine them, like building blocks.
It's that natural integration of these little units that gives English its rhythm, its flow in everyday talk. The studies strongly suggest that really getting these 10 down gives you a solid base for that kind of fluent, connected conversation.
Which brings us to the final, really crucial part of the research you shared, how to actually learn these phrases, how to use them effectively. The studies really emphasized focusing on these 10. Expert speaker, and they gave clear, practical ways to get them into your system. The top advice was, basically, listen actively for them in real English, expert speaker. So podcasts, YouTube, movie shows, really try to notice when people use them, how they use them. Then practice saying them out loud yourself. Get comfortable with how they sound, how they feel. Expert speaker. And finally, maybe most importantly, start actually using them in your daily English practice. That could be thinking to yourself in English, writing little notes, or trying them out in conversations when you get the chance. Yeah, that thinking in English part, using these phrases, that sounds like a game changer. Instead of trying to translate some complicated thought, just practice swapping in one of these simpler, more natural ones. Like train your brain to just jump to no worries instead of a longer way of saying it's okay. Listening helps you get the speed, the intonation right. Practicing aloud builds that muscle memory so they come out automatically.
It's like a continuous loop, isn't it?
Yes.
Exposure, practice, application. The more you deliberately listen for them, practice them, use them, the more they'll just feel like a natural part of your English. Until, they become effortless.
So if you're finding these practical research-backed ideas for sounding more natural in English helpful, well, you are definitely in the right place. We dive into material just like this specifically for you, our listener, so make sure you follow and subscribe to the Crystal Clear English Flowcast. We've got more amazing insights coming your way, all about learning English based on how people actually use it. We really enjoy bringing you these deep dives into the research you share, helping you on your language journey. So just weaving in these 10 super common phrases. How's it going? I'm just looking, thanks. No worries. That sounds great. I'll get back to you. Pry. It doesn't matter. I'm not sure. I don't feel like it. Fingers crossed. And I have no idea. Based on what the studies show, it really can give your confidence and your naturalness in English an instant boost.
Absolutely. It's mastering these small, high-frequency bits of language that builds real fluency. It opens doors to comfortable, authentic connections when you talk to people. The research totally confirms their power. Maybe just start with 1 or 2 this week. Actively listen for them. Practice saying them. And make a point of trying to use them when the situation feels right.
Yeah, it might feel a little strange at first, maybe like trying on new shoes, as you say. But the studies show the payoff for your learning is huge, so stick with it, practice using them. Because using these simple, natural phrases based on real usage, it isn't just about changing the words you say, is it? How might using these phrases actually change the way other people perceive your English skills? And maybe more importantly, how might it change how you feel about speaking English yourself? Something to think about.
Thank you so much for listening to the Crystal Clear English podcast. Learning another language is like becoming another person.